Well, there he is, the one, the original, the true, the man who loves to wear the blue. Coach Carter, how you doing? How you doing?
Doing really good. Doing really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How
Well,
things on your
this
end?
this is Youth Central Sports. I'm Charles Morse with Coach Carter, where we come to you every Wednesday right here at www.youthcentralsports, where we talk about sports and a whole lot more. You know, the funny thing, Vince, there's been so much going on, not only in the news, but in sports and everything. So, and I know that you one that keeps up with everything.
I try to.
Yeah, yeah. And this past week, well, first of all, did you feel an earthquake today? I saw a quick flash that part of Tennessee had an earthquake. Did you
Well,
feel that?
no, I did not. At least I'm not aware that anything took place in my area. Thank goodness. But I did see a little blurb somewhere, but I haven't seen any details yet. But no, I didn't feel anything. I've been in an earthquake, so I recognize that what that feels like.
Well, I
or,
am
or
thankful to
or
say
at
I've
least.
never been in an earthquake.
Well, I've
No.
been in a tremor aftershock tremors, which to me very simulate that very well, and so, but I didn't feel anything.
Yeah, I saw on the news where there was like a little flash and they said that part of Tennessee had an earthquake today. And I was like, oh, okay. So,
Whoa, I don't
yeah,
want to have to leave the state, but that would cause me to reevaluate my situation here.
yeah. So you got to give us an update on the basketball team. For
Listen, had a great game last night against a rival, one of my district games. Came away victorious, and got a real busy week. Got a game on Friday against another district opponent, and one on Saturday. So a 3-game week here. We're 8-2, playing reasonably good basketball. Really excited about what we're doing. But some real tough, one of the things that we're challenged with this week is the change in tempo for 3 different teams. The team we played last night wanted to play very, very fast. Team we're going to play on Friday want to slow us down, and the team on Saturday is very, very athletic. So we've got a lot of gear shifting to do. So that's what makes the game interesting. I think that's what I like about it. I think it's very valuable for kids to be able to get that kind of exposure to those different types of games. It broadens your basketball IQ, in my opinion, and makes you a sharper coach, because we have to do a lot of adjusting. A lot. We're not going to do any major adjusting, but we will have to adjust, the way we play the game, adjusting from different kind of players. So excited about it. Had a great practice today, getting in the night, rushing to get back and be with everyone tonight. But we're excited right now. 8-2, rolling right along.
okay, let me ask you this right here. We kind of briefly talked about how coaching is so different, especially when you're coaching the older players. When I say older players, there's a difference between when you're coaching younger players when they're 12 in middle school, and then when in high school, it's a little different.
Right.
How what's the oldest as far as kids in AAU that you have coached? What's the oldest?
The 17 and under. In fact, I actually have done a little pro-am ball where I coached collegiate players,
Right, right.
overseas players, couple
Okay,
NBA
and
players.
see that's my question. How, I mean, and I think I know the answer, but is it a little different when they're 16, 17, maybe 18, and then you're coaching at like at the pro am, and you're trying to get them to understand your philosophy? Because if they can just believe in the philosophy, that's like half the battle, trying to get them to understand what you want them to do. And then they accept it and say, you know what, this will work. How
Right.
is it difficult? I mean, how difficult is it versus where you are 16, 17-year-olds, and then you're coaching like in the pro am?
There is a difference. The strategy is a little bit different. In fact, The IQ, if you got players that got high IQ, that's at any level. It really does make the game even more simple, in my opinion. It's less coaching, it's more guiding, it's more. They get the concept really easy. They understand what you're trying to say because they've seen it already. They've had that kind of experience. You know, at that pro-am level, these guys have seen a lot of basketball. There's many situations. There are not too many situations they haven't seen. So to teach them a concept is kind of easy if the kid is able to grasp it. Because a lot of time kids, sometimes they don't get the game, but they got certain skills that they can take that same concept and make it work. So I find it a little bit easier, still a challenge, but a little bit easier to kind of coach that because it's more like guiding. They know what you want to do. They understand the man pick and roll. They understand playing man to man. It's just a matter of teaching them the way to look at the keys that you want. Same thing on the offensive side. What kind of situation you want to run? Whether on defense you want to guide that guy to the baseline or guide him back to the middle. You want to take baseline away and push him back to the middle. And see, so there's more creativity there. It's a lot of one-on-one basketball, but you got very talented players. At the AAU level, you got kids that are real high IQ, but you're teaching them system basketball. Although it's a lot of individual ball, I believe in teaching a system, but allowing them to play in it. So I find it equally as challenging. Then as you go down the ranks, to me, what we have always discussed is that we really want to have our better basketball players at our younger ages. To start off teaching these kids fundamentals, trying to get them in their mind right about how you coach, what you coach, how they respond, putting them in routines that can benefit them in the long run. So by the time they get up the line, this kid he's more disciplined. His IQ is higher. He's ready to be coached at a different level. So that's the concept.
Okay. Now I want to ask you, and I didn't even think that we would even be talking about what we're talking about, but another question just came to mind. You know, there's some great coaches that we both know of, and I'll name three of them as far as college basketball coaches, and that's Coach K. He's a great college basketball coach. Bobby Knight, you know, we are going to talk about him probably next week with because I did tell you that I did see the documentary that they did on him.
Right.
And John Wooden. So I just named three great that I think was proven college basketball coaches, but I don't think they would have been good pro coaches because of their personality and who they are. So do you think that you would be able to coach in the pros versus the college? Which one do you think that you might fit more so, college or pro, if you was given that opportunity to coach, you know, Division I, or if you had a chance to coach pros?
I think my limited exposure, I think I could do college, and I think some college would prepare me to do the NBA. Right now, I think I could do college basketball. To me, college basketball is more intense right now than the NBA. The rivalries are stronger. The talent levels are very high. The game is much more interesting right now. And it's more challenging. There's a lot of adjusting and changing. You really got to be on your game. A lot of scouting. Really, it's so different from what the NBA has to do, because there you're relying a lot on individual skills. You got very talented ball players. They're still running some of the same thing, but they just run at such a high level, and you don't really have to spend a whole lot of time. It's been said that if you look at guys being traded in the NBA, they can get traded on Tuesday and they play on Thursday, because you just go in and learn a couple of concepts. What are you doing? How you do it? And he fits right in. Defensively, you play a lot of man to man. You got a lot of there's some zone play, but you see a lot of man, and they help here. So it's just the way they help, whether they go under screens, over screens, and situations dictate that. And so here you're involved with guys who recognize that sometime before the coach do. They really understand what they're looking at, and it's really kind of fun coaching them. But I think for me right now, college ball, I think that I could go to college ball and be highly effective, because it's more energized. It's a lot of X's and O's, but it's also a lot of unity and relationship building. Same thing in the NBA, but right now I think at the collegiate level, man, you ever watch a college basketball, the energy level is so high because of the school spirit, the rivalries that they have, and it's just electric. I've been blessed to coach high school ball in a couple of environments. That's what we have up here. Our rivalry games remind you so much of collegiate games because the gym is packed, and we got the crowd is all involved in it's close quarters. And they understand what they're looking at. So I would love the opportunity to be a part of the NBA program, but I think that college would probably be my first stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And the thing is that I won't ask you now, but I ask you later if you ever had a conversation with your son Vince about his perception of college and pro and what was that like. But for those who are on Facebook, if you may have a question for Coach Carter, to Stephanie, Russell, Kimberly, Raymond, and David. And I'm asking you on Facebook, do you prefer the college game or do you prefer the NBA game? And I'm asking you, Stephanie and Russell, Kimberly, Raymond, David, let us know if you prefer the NBA game or the college game, or who knows, maybe you prefer both. But Vince, now, if you had a chance, would you rather go see the NBA Finals or would you rather go see the March Madness, the Final Four?
March Madness. If
What was
I
that
had to
again?
pick, I would love to see both of them, but if I had to pick one, I think I'd go see March Madness, the March Madness. That's a tricky experience, man. I mean, it's so different from the NBA because you're pulling together 64, 68 teams, putting them out there. It's electric, man. It's hard to explain the energy level that's in there, the competition level, where in the NBA's right now, it's kind of, and a lot of people say it's not as much fun because you got the same teams involved. I do think that has a little bit to do with that, but at the same time, you cannot fault a team for being able to get back to back to back to back to get there and win it. I think that says a lot about it. It's just that it's the teams below that are not as exciting to some. The game is kind of predictable because it's there's so much. They almost do the same thing over and over and over. The only difference is just the players make it go better or different at a higher level. Where in collegiate ball, it's so different. It's not as it's team driven basketball. It's how well the team executes, how well they get the job done, how well do they defend. Same principle as the NBA, but just more exciting. So I would definitely want to go to the Final Four to see that. I've been that's an experience that I've yet to have, and I hope to have that sometime very soon.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got a few questions because I like to lay out the show, but we started on this, but you shared what it was like coaching, and where I think you was part of the Elite Eight. Did you make it to the Elite Eight in high school? And you
Yes.
said that was a very unique experience.
Oh, Charles, I mean, to walk into Middle Tennessee State year before last, after having gone over and watched 2 years of championship basketball, I watched
Mm-hmm.
Penny Hardaway at the time at Memphis East win two state championships, and then to walk in there as a team competing, knowing at the end of the day, if we are successful, we will be playing Penny Hardaway and Memphis East, which was a beast all by itself. But aside from that, walking and knowing you're one of the elite teams that's participating in this thing, and the packed house at this collegiate arena is packed, big court. I mean, just a huge stage. It was such an accomplishment. And to be honest with you, I was more excited for the kids because I know the hard way. I was excited too for myself because something was a dream, part of a dream come true to be one of those teams, but to also look at what the kids had gone through to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Going way back to that summer, what we did, how hard we worked, the challenges that we had, the successes that we had, the failures that we had, the question mark we had, the encouragement, and all of that, and then to be able to walk in there and you're one of just a few teams. I was just overwhelmed. I was so excited. I had to really kind of calm myself down and say, okay, we got a basketball game to play here. You're not a fan. I was sitting on the sideline enjoying the game for a minute. I said, well, wait a minute, I got to try to win this thing. So
everything that you just said,
amazing.
Everything that you just said for you as a coach, it's like 10 times more if you a young student on the team.
Oh yes.
So what was said when you guys lost the game? What was it like in the locker room, and what did you say to the kids? Because at that moment to get there and then to lose the game, and because you're so high and emotionally
Right.
you crushed it at that time. But what is it that was said in the locker room? Because that, and I know there was tears. I know there was tears.
Oh no. Well, for some of them, it was the last time we would be together as a team. So that was an emotion that came through first. You had to celebrate the fact that you were one of the elite team to make it that far. Are you disappointed? Yes, obviously we wanted to win. And one of the things that happened, we played well. We had some mistakes that cost us some points, but it wasn't like we went out there and we didn't show. I mean, it was a good fight. I mean, they had their guns and we had ours. They just shot more bullets than we did, and that was the only difference. We looked at our shooting percentage for the first time, was way below our percentage, and we believed that if we had hit those shots that we missed, if we were shooting our high percentage, our normal percentage for the night, the game would have been different. Now, would we have won the game? We don't know, but certainly it would have been a close, because the strategy that we used, that we were employing, was working well. We just weren't hitting our shots. So that's what you got to be honest about it. You got to celebrate the moment. You got to have the moments got to be bigger than the disappointment. The comeback has to be bigger than the setback. So the fact that we made it, the fact that we were one of those teams, and we went out and played our best, but came up short, you got to celebrate that. It's an experience they will never forget. And going into the game, we reminded them it's another basketball game on a big stage. You earned it. Nobody gave it to you. You worked real hard for it. It's yours to have. Let's go play ball. Try to keep everything normal. Warm up. The whole pregame was just like we would do any other game, just in a different venue, to take them in, and they responded very well. We just we came up short. And going out the door, they understood that it was very obvious if we had hit our shots, the game would have been different. They were disappointed for a few minutes. Mm-hmm. More so that for our seniors, this was it. There would be no practice the following Monday. There would be different faces the next time we come together, and these guys would be gone. So that's really what we celebrated, the journey that we had. And the way the fact that we all got to this point together, we reminisce back about how we got there, more so than we lost. It's the end of a journey, and okay. and it didn't come out quite the way we wanted to. But so they had a momentary feeling of loss, but I think we tried our best to turn it around into a positive experience. But acknowledging that we did lose. No moral victories here. But it was a positive experience at the end.
Let me ask you this question and see. Now, there's another question that popped in my head. Out of all the time, because there's been probably well over 1,000 games that you've coached, right? There's probably well over 1,000 games that you've coached.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right. For you, do you remember? And I'm not going to ask you to repeat it, but for yourself, because before every game, there's always that pep talk, right? I mean, because you try to get the kids, or you try to get the players in that mode. You try to get them to go out and play hard, and you're trying to get them hyped. Do you remember a specific pep talk out of all the pep talks you've ever had that they went out and they just and it clicked? And I'm not saying that I'm not asking you to remember what you said, but I'm asking you,
Right.
do you remember, is there one particular time right before the game where you said what you said, you they felt it, they fed into it, and you went like, yeah.
I think it's happened twice. I was coaching in YBOA national tournament, in which we won that particular year. I will
Uh-huh.
remember that what was said there, even more so what was said at halftime. And then I remember we were playing an AAU tournament, national tournament. We were ranked top 10 in the country. Inside it, we were in the top 10. And we had a great it wasn't a great pep talk. It just turned out to be a great pep talk. And they went out and just, nobody gave us a chance to get there. And we got to that point. We were one game away from the championship game, and we lost, but it was just unbelievable what they had done. And that pep talk was 3 games before that.
Okay.
3 games before that. And on that day, 3 games after that pep talk, that thing just, it was walked in the room, wanted to give a pep talk, and there was no reason to say a word. You could just see it in their faces, like, let us go. Coach, we ready to go. And I just asked them, are you ready? And they said, I mean, the way the room exploded, I knew there was nothing else I needed to say. What could I say? I mean, they were already there. It was like dogs. I needed to release them so they could go. And that was so those two feelings there, and the feeling that we had to win our regional championship last year and the year before that. So that's 4 that I remember. And you can just see, for me, it's about there's a connection that I see in their eyes. It's the way they come to the court in their pregame, and when our pregame warm up situation, and when we warming up for just before the game. There's a body language. There's a certain energy. When I see and feel, I know we're ready.
But
it's not so much about the shots that go in doing
right.
warm up,
but
it's
that's my next question,
the
Vince.
Yeah.
It's
an emotional feeling, and I've been around them enough. I know them. I know.
My next question,
I've been in the trenches.
based on what you're talking about, and for those who don't understand sports, or for those who haven't coached and that really understand what it's like to compete, and when you compete at a certain level, it's really just part of your life, and it kind of takes over your life, because that's just how it is when you compete at a certain level. That's just the nature of the beast. But my question is, what is it like when you look out there and they now have taken on your personality? Because that's a unique feeling when you look out and you see your team and that's your personality, because I had someone come up to me and say to me something that let me know that team had my personality.
Right. Yeah, I've had that happen to me a couple of times, and even though now there's certain parts of this team they have my personality because of what from my conditioning, our warm ups, stretches, some of the drills that I'm in charge of. They have taken on my personality, and I can see it from the moment they hit the floor. I know where they are. I know that I can let them go, or I can rein them back in. Sometimes I got to stop them, refocus them, but I know when they're there, and it's because it's relaxing, because I know what I'm looking at. I know what's going to happen now. Bar thing crazy. I know what we're getting ready to do, and I know what's going to happen in terms of their emotions, the way they're going to play this game, and this that they have, and they're gonna have some fun with. So I'm relaxed now. I'm kind of laughing, thinking y'all don't know. Thinking of the other team, you don't know what's getting ready to happen to you. You really don't know what's getting ready to happen to you. Then, as opposed to the feeling where I'm not sure, so I'm searching for something to give me and them a certain level of confidence going in. And it's something I need to see, something I need to hear. And once I feel it or I see it, then I can relax. So it's an feeling. And sometimes it's funny uh, to look out and think, I got to be careful what I do and what I say because it'll come back to me. You know,
No,
there's certain things that they repeat. They repeat some of my slogans, some of my little quips that I run out after them, and because we work with a word of the day. And for every practice, we got a word of the day, and I that word, and in certain situations, they bring back one of those words, which lets me know that they that's how I know they're there. You know, sometimes I ask them, what's the word for today? What's the word for today? And they'll come up with some. So that's my way of connecting. That's my way of, that's my meter for them. I watch the way they, it's funny, Charles. I watch the way they dress. I watch how they get dressed. I watch what they do. You know, all those things are keys for me to tell me that, okay, we're on schedule. Timing, because everything is time. I'm from the moment we get our shoot around till we get on the court, there's a timed exercise program that and they understand that it's a running clock. We call it punching in. You got to punch in now, and once you punch in, you're on a time clock. So we got so many minutes to accomplish so much to be ready for the game, and that has why they have adopted that now. You can hear them saying, "Hey man, we got to go now. We're on time clock. We're on time clock." You know, so that means they understand it because there's certain things I want to happen at certain times by certain minutes prior to game. They need to be at a certain place. And now they've adopted that. They understand it well because they say, well, hey, we're 3 minutes out. They know what that means. What do I need to be doing at 3 minutes out? And then we got a stop point where we got a 30-second minute where it's complete silence, and group, man, hand to hand, body to body, mind to mind, heart to heart. And then from there we break out and go. So it's scripted, if you will, but it's a way of they learn me. They know what makes me nervous. When we don't do it right, it makes me nervous. But when they do it right, even they celebrate it because they can feel it too. It's just like poetry and motion. To see them, everybody moving at the same time, moving with the same mind thought, the same execution, same sense of urgency. You know, and they're correcting each other, they're encouraging each other, and and I like fluid motion, so I want to see everybody moving at the same pace. You know, it's so exciting. It's very, very, very exciting.
I'm going to ask you a question that you probably would understand. What has been your best loss?
It's been more than one, and those are the kind of games where you executed it the best you could do, and sometimes you just got outplayed.
Right, right,
They just outplayed you. I mean,
right.
you shot a shot, they shot a shot. You know, I mean, you missed one, they made one. There've been games when you get out coached. Get coach just smart. He just pulls some things. Those games are easier to live with than when we go out and get outplayed. We failed to compete. We didn't match the energy, and we had no
Right.
effort. Those games are tougher for me. But when we go out and we compete, and I know we've given our best and we come up short, I got to live with that. Either we didn't prepare you properly, we just out. You know, if we didn't shoot the ball well, or we got to the free throw line and didn't make our free throws, you know, you got to look at it and say, listen, man, if one free throw caused us to lose this game, we played well enough to win this game. So I've had several of those where, quote unquote, you know, because again, I don't believe in moral victories now, but I think we've had a good loss. It's something we can build on. We can come back and say, okay, you remember what happened? Yeah, okay, so that's what we're working toward. So I've had a few.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, now let's talk about your Dallas Cowboys in that Philly game real quick.
I tell you, I had a friend of mine that was actually a coworker of mine who actually was in Dallas and was sitting in the stadium watching it. He said it was as electric as it was on television. It was even more electric to be there. And he actually recorded the last play when they threw that ball, and the Philly defender actually deflected the ball, but it just popped up, and Cooper got
Right.
it and went in. That's a heck of a game.
Right.
I was surprised that that Philly, was playing that kind of ball. Look at the number of penalties on both sides of the ball. Philly had a touchdown, got called back. They had Dallas gave them the ball 3 or 4 times first down off a bonehead offside plays and penalties, and
Yeah. Yeah,
it,
they
it
were saying
had
there was
to
some
end that.
bad calls on both sides too. They said there was a lot of bad calls on both sides.
Could have been. I mean, it depends upon the way you look at it. I mean, I thought there was some bonehead decision making by the players, holding calls, and they turned out to be big yards gain. In one case, a touchdown, and we got holding penalty. We had offside penalty. The Cowboys were holding and jumping offside, pushing Philly down the field to give them a better opportunity. And but the defense played well on the Cowboys side. I thought the offense took advantage of. For the first time, they looked pretty good. They really did look well. I mean, things seemed to come together for them, and I was really excited. Being a Cowboy fan, I was really excited that they competed it the way they did. They wouldn't, even when they fell behind or whatever situation, they kept coming at it. They kept putting pressure on there. Actually, I enjoyed the game, to be honest with you,
Hey,
and I was just happy we won it. We came out and won it, and so I hope that will give us this a springboard going forward to compete at the rest of the season.
were you surprised that your second favorite team, the Washington Redskins, just stunk up the place against the Giants? I mean, that woo, man, that
I wasn't surprised, but I
what was
was really
that?
happy as all get out those. Really, in our division, that's probably my stepchild right there. I just Redskins. Turmoil, controversy, changing quarterbacks, readjusting. It's difficult, Charles. You know that. I was a little bit surprised that they seemed to be coming apart at the seams. That kind of surprised me a little bit. I expected them to still be in there competing, but up with the Giants of all people, who
Right.
are struggling themselves, was able to just go in and handle them like that. I was like, oh wow, what a surprise! I mean, I'm glad they lost. Don't get me wrong, but I was just surprised it happened that way.
Yeah, I was. I know that you've been following the 30-30 story that they're going to do on what they call 42 to 1, Tyson and Buster Douglas. Did you see the fight? Well, I mean, do
Yes,
you remember the fight? Because they showed the fight the other night, and they're
uh,
and they
kind of, yeah, pretty
yeah,
much.
and they interviewed Buster Douglas. Did you see that?
Mhm. I did. I saw part of it.
Right. Yeah. And
I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that a little bit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 40 your odds are 42 to 1, and of course,
Hmm.
it's Mike Tyson. But I've heard Mike Tyson a few years ago talk about that fight and where he was and how he said at that point he was taking things for granted. And we all know what happened when he lost Cuss. And he just said he was just in Never Land, and then he didn't train, and I guess it showed.
Yeah, yeah. And generally, that's what happens when you don't prepare, especially at that level. You're gonna get taken advantage of. I mean, you gotta prepare. You gotta put your time in, especially as a fighter, because it's a one-on-one out there. And if you're not prepared, there's nobody can come and save you. There's no timeout. You got 3 minutes, and if you're not careful, this guy gonna beat your brains in for 3 minutes. For 3 minutes. So, but it happens though. It happens.
Man, I've been looking through some stuff, and man, there been some people talking about your favorite player, Carmelo Anthony. Somebody saying that he just should go ahead and just. I don't think that he. Well, I don't know. Nobody has picked him up, right? I mean, he's still out there.
No,
Have
nobody
you
picked him
have you heard anything? Because they're saying about him, he may go to Dallas, he may go to the Lakers, so on and so forth. But
the conversation that I've had, I've heard those rumors. I've read those. Also read that some of the execs are saying that he won't play anymore. That he's done. Um, there are some who are saying that he could be an asset to somebody's team, although they'd identify who that might be. But they just said he could be an asset. Personally, if he, my opinion, just my opinion, I think he's finished. I don't see him fitting in anywhere now because. So what does he bring to the table? Is he a great locker room guy? It doesn't appear that he has that as a in his arsenal. He's not a great teammate. He brings a lot of drama, brings a lot of controversy. He's not shooting the ball particularly well right now, and we all know he don't play no defense. So,
But
so
see,
what you gonna use him for?
but Vince, that's something that I wanted to to talk about it, and I don't know if we have enough time on this show right now because we're well over halfway into the show. But for somebody like Carmelo Anthony and even Noah, every time I see Noah go up and shoot a free throw, I scream because to me, somewhere down the line when he was a young player, somebody didn't somebody didn't help him out. And so with players like Carmelo Anthony, somewhere down the line, somebody didn't check him and said, okay, you don't have to play defense. And he accepted that. And that's part of his makeup. And so he never developed a thought that he needed to develop or put the work in to become something other than whatever somebody told him years ago. So now it has come back to bite him in the butt because he's just this one-dimensional player and his mindset is, I'm just a guy. I am the guy is what I'm saying. I'm the guy. So that's his mentality. So
Yeah,
he doesn't make anything. He doesn't make especially now, like you said, how is he going to make a team better? He doesn't play any defense. His mindset is, well, this is how I'm going to play. There's no ifs, ands, and, so he's only have hurt
well,
himself.
it's me. I mean, yeah. And what does he bring to the locker room? Well, he doesn't bring anything from a team aspect in the locker room. He's not one of those kind of guys that can be a support player and support other ball players. And I'm sure in his own way he thinks he's doing that, but and in his own mindset he feels like this is what I bring to the table, and he may be correct. It's just not needed anywhere. It's not enough of that for someone to say, I'm going to pay you. And I don't think it's about money as much as it's about why am I paying you? What am I getting for my money? And it does not help. But Charles, it does not help. Now, you went to an offensive-minded team and you lasted 10 games. That doesn't look good on anybody's resume, that you went to a team that doesn't play any defense. Okay, and all you had to do was shoot the ball and outshoot the other team, and you lasted 10 games and then you were gone. Yeah, people scared to death of that. I would be if I was a GM. I'd be like, I need to know more about what happened on that. Right. That would cause you to give up on him in 10 games. So it's unfortunate. Maybe he should have left the game some time ago. I don't know, but I hate to see that happen because I think he still loves the game. I just don't think he can contribute anything to the game.
Well, somebody made a quick note, and they said, like, for an example, he said, well, Vince Carter, he's 41 years old, and he's playing. And
yeah,
they were talking about the mindset, understanding where you are and who you are, and doing what you need to do to make the team better.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I think one of the things that happens with there was a question about Vince Carter. Why didn't he try to go to some of the elite teams and win a championship? According to him, the old school mindset. First of all, he still loves the game. He still wants to compete, so he wants to play. So he want to go someplace where he can get minutes on the floor. He wants to take his experience and share it and help mentor other players to get better. That's what he's saying. And if you look at it, he's still contributing. He's still shooting the ball reasonably well, double-digit scoring. His box scores. He's got some steals. He's got some assists. He's getting some rebounds. He's still able to play some defense. He's dunking the ball still. So he's a contributor. Is he your go-to man? No, he's not your go-to man. Is he going to lead you to a championship? Probably not. But he can support players. He can help your team. He can give your team some stability as long as he's effective. And he's going to have to evaluate himself along with the league. What is his value and how much longer can they afford to have him? And I think a lot of that's going to be based on how long can he be productive. But that's a big difference between, and I do think it's a mindset. He understands that I'm not going to, in Atlanta, he has been starting. I think that's just veteran leadership on the floor. But he also understands he's not the primary option, that he might be your third option, sometimes fourth option, depending upon the game plan and who they're playing. Okay with that. He's not worried. He's not fussing because of the ball. He's getting some. He's coming out at double digit scoring, and he's had some good rebounding nights in stock. So he's I think he's still contributing, unlike Carmelo, and is drama based. Upset because ball not in his hands and all that kind of stuff. That's the difference between him and Vince Carter and other older players, or Dirk Nowitzki, who understands I'm getting older. I can't contribute the way saying I can still contribute. I just can't do it the way I used to. Right. I think that is a mindset. It's acceptance of who you are, what you do, and what's being asked of you.
Right. This is something that bothers me, because I just think there's something wrong with us in our society. I think there's something wrong with us as people. But Vince, please explain to me, if I'm Kyrie Irving and if I think the world is flat, I can think the world is flat. Or if I'm Steph Curry, if they didn't go to the moon, they didn't go to the moon. Why is that news? And why is it that these teachers can't just explain that you got basketball players that play basketball who may have an opinion, but let's do the research and see what this is and why do you care? Because I don't understand. So if Steph Curry says they didn't go to the moon, so what? I don't get, I just don't understand why they care about what these jocks think. If the world is round, rectangular, went to the moon or not went to the moon, why is that news? Please explain it to me. Why do they care?
I think why is it that LeBron is in the news and they're not winning, they're not doing anything at all, but that's news? Because he has an opinion about a losing team, a losing effort, or they're not in. Why aren't they interviewing Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors and they're undefeated? Why aren't they talking about some of the Pelicans and Anthony Davis? Why is that not news? Why do we need to know everything about LeBron? And I'm talking about on the court. I think he is making news off the court that's newsworthy. He's following his own belief. He's making a positive approach to society. So, and I'm all about that. I went on the basketball court. Why is that news? So for that reason, the question I would ask, if his opinions and activities are newsworthy, then anybody else's would be the same. Because they're an athlete, he makes a statement. I think it's newsworthy because he said it. If he came out and say, "Listen, this is what I think," okay, that's great. Let me write that down next, and we move on. They want to make it like it's a revelation. The man is entitled to an opinion. Doesn't have to make sense. And we certainly don't have to agree with it, but he's entitled to his opinion. If you want that to be news, you write that as Vince Carter said, and boom, boom, boom. What do you think about that? We move on. They draw these things, they make it gospel, and I don't understand that. But it's not only in sports. We do it in politics, and we do it in the business. The people are entitled to an opinion. They said they tried to make Steve Jobs, former co-founder and president of Apple, to be a knucklehead. The man has an opinion. He runs the company the way he wants the company ran. What's wrong with that?
Right.
Well, people don't agree. That's fine. It's okay that you don't agree with it, but it works for them, and they were achieved. It's only news because he said, and news being, here's his opinion. Now, that's the news about it. all that other stuff, all that follow up, and we got to have a panel discussion about it. To me, that's not worthy of that. That's just my opinion.
I mean,
And I don't know if
it's
that helps.
crazy. I mean, you go ask this whoever Curry or Kyrie about something and be like, I don't get it. You know, just because he thinks the world is flat or they didn't go to the moon, okay. So
It's fine. I mean, that's the news.
that's crazy to
To
me.
me, that's the news. He says the world is flat. Okay. And that's his opinion. So thank you very much for your opinion. Question number two. Okay. Because he's entitled to his opinion. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to
Right.
like it, but he is entitled to it. And I don't argue. I may say to myself, oh, I don't agree with that, but okay. And we move on,
Right.
because I don't, that's not going to change my opinion. It's
Well,
not going to cause me to rethink what I believe simply because he says that, the world is flat. And believe that the world is not flat. But okay, if you think it's flat, I, based on what, and, what is it? What's
I
that
wouldn't
crazy
even go
boy
that
name?
far.
Well, I mean, I
It's just
I
like,
feel like if you make a statement, I just want to know based on what did you make that statement? Kanye West has made several statements. I would love to know
really?
just how did you get to
Vince.
this point?
Vince, really?
You know,
Really?
seriously, because I really believe that he's crazy.
Like,
I truly believe that he's
I don't
crazy,
want to
and
hear
I just
nothing
want
coming out his mouth.
clarification. Oh, I didn't say I believe it. I'm just curious to know how'd you get to that point. I understand, and I say in all sincerity, he has some. It's been determined, and documented. That he has some, some, well, not mental, but he suffers from depression, and it causes him to go serious mood swings, and he just says some absolutely ridiculous stuff. It's
Well,
his right.
that's what I was saying. Like,
He has
if
every
I
right
want
to
to have a
say it, but
comedy hour, then I would go in and
that's
say,
it.
hey,
Well,
Kanye, hey,
yeah, I
I
mean,
got a
just
question.
yeah, everybody got a place for him, but I'm looking at him like, man, you can't be serious. But if you are, oh well and good for you. I mean, I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing.
I
Next,
mean, here's a man sitting there trying to decide what kind of gold toilet to buy. It's like, really? Really?
I mean, I can't relate to that. I mean, maybe somewhere
It's a
someone can
toilet.
relate to that. I cannot relate to that, so I can't criticize him for something I can't relate to. I know in my world that makes no sense at all, but in his world that may be common every day. Maybe it matters, but not in my world. It doesn't make any difference.
Okay. Okay. All right. You, you ready for your sprint?
Absolutely.
Okay. Here we go. All right. Wendy's or McDonald's?
Wendy's.
Wendy's or Burger King?
Wendy's.
There you go. I'm a Wendy's guy back when I used to go do the fast food thing. Have you ever grown a garden growing up?
Yes.
And what did you plant in your garden?
It didn't matter. None of it lived. I killed it all. I planted all kind of stuff, and none of it grew.
Oh man, we planted some of everything, but
Yeah,
we
but
was
it
good.
didn't matter. I have a green thumb. That's been obvious. It's obvious I do not have a green thumb.
Okay. The last time you had a dog.
It's been several years ago. I mean, many years ago, but in fact, I've had three. The last one was a collie, and we named him Lassie because he looked so much like that dog that was on that television program. But I have not had one. That's been at least 30 years ago.
Oh, okay. And then I was
It's a
gonna
lot longer.
say, we all know that you have named your dog Lassie. Have you
Yeah.
ever named a dog Shane?
No.
Man, I think every dog my dad ever had, he called him Shane. Shane.
Yeah, no.
Every dog was Shane. As a kid, Did you ever make a pop gun? You know the pop gun when you use China berries?
No, I know what you're talking about, but I never did that.
Oh man, that was okay, because we used to make those all the time when
Yeah, I used to see them make. A lot of my friends did that, but I never did that.
oh, oh okay. How old were you when you got your first BB gun?
13.
Okay. Did you ever make a slingshot when you were a kid?
Yes.
Did you ever go hunting for robins back when you used to do the BB guns and the slingshot?
Yes.
Was there ever a neighbor that had some type of fruit tree, whether or not it was a pecan tree, dates, figs, that used to sneak in the yard and kind of steal the fruit?
No, because behind me lived a family member that had a huge uh, field of fruit from everything. So I just go if you maybe yes because they would tell me don't go in there and bother, and I would. So maybe
See,
I did do that.
see, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I did. I think the answer would be yes.
The
Yeah, they
last
weren't a
time you
neighbor;
flew
that
a
was
kite.
family.
The
Huh?
last time you flew a kite.
Oh God, that's been about 6 years ago. I helped a little my nephew, and I actually had more fun with it than he did. He said, "Can I have my kite right here?" I said, "Yeah." When I finish playing with it, I'll give it back to you.
Man, what is so funny is that just like I was telling you about how we used to make the pop guns, because we used to make them all the time, and now if somebody asked me to make a pop gun, I'd be like, wait a minute, I need to Google that. We used to
Yeah.
make them
Oh
all the
yeah.
time,
Oh yeah.
when we were kids, you know.
Listen, I'm sitting at a table just yesterday at school, and we were studying, we're looking at math. So what we're going to do is going to play dominoes, right? So you brought out the dominoes and put them on the table, and everybody looking at each other like nobody knows, don't remember how to play dominoes. So we had to Google it so we could figure out how to play dominoes. And I'm like, I grew up playing dominoes. I just
Yeah.
don't remember how to play it. It's so long, and they're so different. There are many different versions of dominoes. I couldn't remember not one. So we ended up reading and trying to play it from that. I thought it was funny. I said, man, I grew up on checkers and dominoes.
Wh-
That was like that was every day, all day, and I couldn't remember stink about it. Chinese checkers, I played Chinese
Yeah,
checkers.
yeah, yeah. I did too. And see, the
A little
thing is,
chess.
when I was by the time I was in sixth grade, I was a really good checker player. But when I was around 5 and 6, my grandmother had bought me the Chinese checkers, so I knew how to play the Chinese checkers. Then
Yeah,
I don't have a clue how to play it
I
now.
can't. I don't
But
even remember.
but by the time I was in sixth grade, I was a really good checker player. As a matter of fact, I was beating some of the adults.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh absolutely, absolutely. I played. Now, what I did not get real good at that I wanted to was chess.
I've never
I
played
it,
chess.
it,
I had a
I
roommate in
played
college that
it.
played chess.
I really wanted to play that game, but I didn't spend enough time with it. And it was a type of game you have to get involved, kind of like golf. You just can't do it one time. You
Hmm.
have to be there, and I could sustain that. And even now, I'm having difficulty trying to get back at it. But checkers, Chinese checkers, all that kind of stuff, man, I jumped on that. Even dominoes, like I said. But now, for some reason, dominoes is like, how do you play that again? And I have played dominoes, and I don't know how. Oh man, it's been so forever since I played the dominoes.
Okay, real.
We played dominoes. I don't know if we played them the right way, but we had some fun with
You make up your
it.
rules as you go along.
Yeah, the kids were having a ball, so I said, this works.
Be Before we go over this coming week of the NFL, what did you
Mhm.
think of the Bears? What they did to the Rams, man? I mean, well, first of
I'm shocked.
all,
I'm shocked by
well,
that.
well, first of all, you can tell that the Rams don't like playing in cold weather.
Listen, and I can't blame them because that's frigid temperatures up there. That's like playing in Lambeau Field in Green Bay or going up to Minnesota before they had an indoor stadium. that's a different type of cold. Playing Buffalo in the snow, that's different than playing any place else. That's one of the advantages I think that New England has, is that when you got to go through the playoffs and got to come through Foxborough in the wintertime, you
Right.
got a problem. Because now, what you think about the Dolphins putting off that win over the Patriots? That was the most amazing thing to me, on an old-fashioned pitch, catch, and toss type situation that they ended up scoring. I could not believe that they could pull that off against the Patriots. And they had Gronkowski back there.
I
I
know,
guess
right?
as a hands guy. Yeah, which
Oh, oh, I know what I
made no
wanted to
sense
ask you.
to me.
I know what I wanted to ask you. What do you think of the Jaguars and how they just quit? They just died. They just laid down. I mean, woo. I
You know,
mean, they was
it's
man.
hard
They
to.
what's wrong with them?
Well, I think what you're going to end up hearing, if you haven't heard it already, because I haven't seen much about it, but I'm anticipating hearing it soon, that the coach has lost the locker room. And he's lost the locker room. His tenure is very short, because I think at that point you need a different voice. Something has happened, that they either lost faith in the system, lost faith in the person that's leading the system, or they're not motivated anymore. And generally, when that happens, that's your coaching staff, that's your coach. Now I put it on the player too, but uh, owners will go after the coach
No,
and say,
no
okay,
pride
you're not
whatsoever.
motivated.
I mean, he ran
Yeah.
through them and
So
made them look like they were all in fifth grade.
so that's a bit. I mean, that's you don't. I mean, you expect, at least I expect, that no matter what, you look at the Jets. The Jets have had an up and down season, but they're fighting their brains out there. You look at Chicago. Who thought they would have done that? But they won't. They keep fighting. No one thought the Lions were going to win a game. They kept fighting until they won a game and won a couple of games. Browns won a game or two. So
Right.
you can't quit. I mean, you got to keep playing. And for the Jaguars to have done that, that's scary.
Yeah. Before we get into the upcoming week, you got anything that you want to throw out before we get into the?
Uh, no, number one, I saw that Gonzaga went down. I saw Gonzaga
Yeah.
playing Tennessee. Man, what a game! Tennessee looks very, very good. Gonzaga got their wings clipped. I think Kansas is now number one. Duke is number
Right.
two. Duke's still rolling right along, but I think they're going to have a reckoning here very soon, especially when they get into conference play. So I told all my Duke fans, you better go ahead and enjoy it now because it's going to change. Some people say they're not going to lose any more games, and I'm telling them, you don't bump your head because that's not true. They are going to, but they are playing well. I don't want to take that from them. But Kansas looks really good. A little surprised at Gonzaga the other day, but hey, that's the difference. Each night on the basketball court, your favorite or whomever, there's always that possibility that it could happen differently than you would think it. You would think number one wouldn't go down, number one gets knocked off.
Right.
And then you go to the NCAA finals and you got four number ones coming. I mean, that's the excitement of it all for me. So right now it's just looking at the rankings. I think they came out today. I have not had a chance to look at it myself. Just getting it kind of late, but still excited about what's going on and some good basketball yet to come. So I'm really looking forward for the collegiate time frame. Always, everybody know I'm a big Carolina fan, and so we got Gonzaga coming up. So
Oh,
that's going to be
okay.
kind of because Gonzaga's they're a little tick right about now. And we got to be ready to meet them up because they're coming hard. So hopefully we're ready to play.
Okay. Now, two things. One, as we talk about this college football playoff, which that's depressing, but look like they're talking more about bringing in, actually, I think expanding it. They're talking more about it.
It's been for the last 2 years. Is that conversation? Well, when they first came up with this current format, several people said, this is not the final, and it may not be the best, but it's the current, is what we have for right now. I've heard so many people within the college rank, other ranks, just talking heads, just great fans who have come up with some ideas about how they think it would be easier. And I think they're starting. So this conversation that they're having is starting to look and say, okay, this serves us right now, but this is not the ultimate. I never thought it was the ultimate. I always thought that they were going to go with it for a while they try to figure out what to do next. And I think now that they're starting to have so much dialogue about it, I think they're starting to see there might be another way for us to do this. So that's exciting. To see that they're going to open it up a little bit more.
And they should.
And they should. They got to be careful, though, about time frames and all of that. But they can work all that out because, like next week is exams, and you want to make sure you put a timetable together to acknowledge that you give these kids a chance to take care of their education as they prepare for one of these books. But all that can be worked out, in my opinion.
Well, they do it in Division II, Division III, NAIA, so they make it work.
Yeah.
And
so Division I is the leader, but I'm so happy to hear that they're having at least dialogue. And that means they're going to come up with something, and nobody's going to like that either. But at least they will have made another change, and they're going to keep changing to it. I don't know if we'll ever find the perfect scenario, but I think it's going to get better, and that just makes it better for all those other teams. By the way, UCF is still undefeated.
Were you surprised about the Heisman?
A little bit, yeah. I had watched a little bit of that young man, but not much. I was kind of surprised, but he put up some interesting numbers.
Remember, I was saying his numbers are better than Baker Mayfield. Remember last show?
Oh yeah. So I mean, without a doubt, obviously he was deserving, but it was he just went by me. I didn't see that.
Yeah. All right. Well, tomorrow night, Chargers and the Chiefs.
Man, that's gonna be a good. I think that's gonna be a real good football game. I'm still believing in the Chiefs.
Okay. Well, Saturday, Texans and the Jets. Yeah.
I like the Jets. I like the Jets. Yeah,
okay. Saturday, the Browns and Broncos.
Now that could be interesting. I'm gonna go way out on a limb here. I'm gonna jump out on this limb. I'm gonna go with the Browns. I think they're gonna pull an upset.
All right. The Cardinals and the Falcons. Man, the Falcons, man, since they lost that Super Bowl, they just have gone down.
Yeah, they have had some. It's hard for me to support or to want to believe in them. So I'm gonna go with the Cardinals.
Okay. Well, the Raiders won a game. Lord have mercy. The Raiders and the Bengals.
This may make a difference. I think the Bengals are still a better squad, but I'm gonna get a Raiders a chance to go 2-0 because they're hype.
Dolphins and the Vikings.
After what the Dolphins pulled off, I still think the Vikings should win. But I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
The Buccaneers and the Ravens.
Buccaneers had a big lead and they tossed that thing out the window.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens win.
The Bills and the Lions.
Man, I'm liking the Lions. Although the Bills has looked pretty good, I like the Lions as an underdog. I think the Lions may be able to pull this one out.
Old rivalry, the Bears and the Packers.
Man, that's gonna be a smash mouth. I believe it's gonna be a really. I'm hoping it's gonna be a good game. I'm gonna go with the Bears. I think they got the momentum right now. The Packers in trouble.
Yeah, that defense. Now here's a game that should be called the Quitter Bowl. The Redskins in Jacksonville.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct. I'm going with Jacksonville just because it's the Redskins.
The Titans and the Giants.
Man, the Titans stumbled here a little bit. They were playing some very inspired ball. I'm gonna get the Titans an edge. I think the Dolphins went in and really put up a good fight, but I think the Titans might be able to win that one.
The Seahawks and the 49ers.
I still like the Seahawks.
Yeah, Sherman going up against his old team. The
Mm-hmm.
This is a good one. Sunday, the Patriots and the Steelers.
Man, that could be smash mouth right there. I like the Steelers, so I'm gonna go with the Steelers over. I think it almost would be an upset if they pull it. So I'm gonna go with the upset and say the Steelers.
Man, I don't know if the Eagles have a chance against the Rams, but that's the Sunday night game.
You never know. I mean that. I mean you kind of. I mean if you look at it, if you're a fan of the Eagles, obviously you pull for the Eagles. But I really think the Rams the edge. But Philadelphia, man, the fight they put up Cowboys and barring all the other nonsense, penalties and so forth, if they put that kind of effort out there, it could be for an interesting game. But
Yeah, they got
I'll go with the numbers.
yeah they got
Numbers and go
your
with the
second
Rams.
string quarterback who won the Super Bowl for him. That's probably going to play too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
the the Saints and the Panthers. Man, the Panthers suck. I you know what? I didn't know they were that
Panthers have
bad.
stumbled. Yeah, I thought they were playing better ball than that, or would play better ball than that. They've had some setbacks, but I the Saints are going to roll past them.
You're the Colts and the Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys can get the Colts have been sputtering. They've exploded offensively, and but I still think the Cowboys have. If we playing Cowboy football, I think we win.
All right, and actually, I think they're going to be playing at the Colts, so that would make it even better.
It would be for a great win if we could go get one on the road.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's it. Yeah. Yep. Week
Got
16.
another one in. Got another one in the can. It's getting close. It's really getting close.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
the
man. The
bowl
season's
game
almost
coming.
over. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Bowl games coming up. We have a big break here in the college because of exams coming up. I think they're gonna play this weekend. They won't play again the next weekend because of exams, and so we'll get a little taste of some NBA ball. They'll still be playing.
Yeah, this is a good game right now between the Warriors and Toronto.
Yeah, that's a great matchup.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Warriors are almost back. I see Boogie is starting to practice, so
Right.
it's a good possibility. We might see Boogie in January. I don't think we'll see him in December, but I think it's a good possibility he'll be back on the floor in January. That's
Yeah.
going to be interesting.
Okay.
That's going to be
All
interesting.
right. Well, this is Youth Central Sports. This is the original Coach Carter, where we come to you every Wednesday at 11 p.m. at www.youthcentralsports.com. Also, we're live on Twitter, Periscope, and Facebook. So with that, it's saying I got to talk to you about. I did have the meeting with Ings about the
Okay.
summit, so I'm going to share that
All
with
right.
you. And
Okay.
I tried to work it around your schedule, so I'm gonna see if it's gonna
Okay.
work. So that's up and coming. So with that
Okay.
being said, we're gonna let people know about that annual summit that we do every year, working with the kids. But Youth Central Sports is, as Vince would say, sports. It's more than a game.
More than just a game.
Yeah, all right. Well, we want to wish my friend Frances a speedy recovery from her surgery and her dealing with cancer. We want to say blessings to France's stepfather, who's recovering from
Yes.
heart surgery. And
Amen.
I have a 92-year-old aunt that has been on dialysis for years. She's always in my prayers. And
Amen.
yeah. And the funny thing is, the ladies in my church, what's today? Wednesday, right? Tomorrow they're
Wednesday.
going on a cruise. So we want to wish them well, safe travel. Don't have too much fun. Now, actually, you know what I told them? I said they need to be careful because they never know who's videotaping and who taking pictures because they may end up on Facebook. And then they was like, yeah, you know what? You know what? You're right.
It could definitely happen. There's no doubt about it. It could definitely happen.
So
Given today's social media climate, yeah, it could happen.
yeah, So the ladies of True Vine Baptist Church taking a nice cruise. So I just blessing, safe travel, and have fun. Make it back safe and sound. And so, with that being said, Vince, you're always so informative. You always give us so much information, man, and you definitely, crack me up. But you said that you got how many games coming up this week? How many games you got coming up?
Well, we played one last night, so we got two left. We got a back-to-back on Friday and Saturday.
Oh,
two good teams, two real good teams. So this week has been a big week. We had three good teams, and we got by one last night. And so now we got this other big dog on Friday, and then we come right back Saturday and play against another. And it's three. The most interesting thing is three different styles.
Right,
That's
right,
even more.
Right. You're talking about.
I'm really excited. Really see how well we respond.
All right. Well, you're going to give us an update on those
for sure.
two games, and so, and one thing that I will that I know is that they're going to go out and they're going to play hard. If nothing,
they're going
else.
to play hard.
Right.
That's a fact, and they're ready to play.
All right. With that being said, Charles Morse, along with the original Coach Carter, we want to thank you so very much for joining us. You have yourself a blessed week, and we're looking forward to hanging out with you next Wednesday at 11 p.m. right here at www.youthcentralsports.com.
We appreciate you. Love you.